Imagine a summer league stage set under sweltering lights, where the pulse of purple and gold fans quicken not because of the usual marquee LeBron James or Anthony Davis, but because of a 20-year-old carrying the weight of a legacy few dare to touch, Bronny James. Welcome back to Lakers News Fan Report, where raw truths collide with purple and gold passion. Smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so your heart never misses a beat. Now, what if I told you that in just 21 minutes of a single summer league battle against the Mavericks, everything we needed to understand about Bronny's future unfolded in real time: the good, the flawed, the intense duel with Cooper Flagg, and the harrowing in-betweens that both inspire hope and demand brutal honesty. Bronny burst out of the gate on fire, hitting a step-back mid-range runner right off a sideline inbound, cleverly using a pick-and-roll designed to exploit contact in space, then calmly draining a top-of-the-key triple as Flagg attempted to go under the screen. Those first two made shots came in the opening moments, a flash of promise, but then silenced the rest of the game. Showcase struggles that aren't just rookie jitters. They're the cracks in his offensive game that must be addressed if he's to evolve beyond the son of a legend into a star in his own right. You watch the plays, the pick and rolls designed to carve openings, but Bronny's decisions feel rushed, a premature dump-off when he should be attacking, failing to capitalize on spacious lanes left by a slow or deep drop defense, a Spain pick, and roll. A classic NBA play known for its fluidity and advantage creation became a perfect example of this hesitancy. When the roller is free, the ball is out early with zero advantage procured. Where's the killer instinct? Compare that to his teammate DJ Stewart, whose point guard feel is natural, whose extra dribbles punish defenders and open up high-value opportunities, like collapsing defenses and throwing lob dunks to Basley. Bronny has the speed, he possesses the eye to find cutters and shooters, and he can push pace in transition, but he's shackled by a belief that he isn't a natural point guard handling the ball. With security and tempo remains a glaring issue as the ball flirts dangerously close to turnovers, stirring doubt in his playmaking role. And here's the mid-paragraph twist no one saw coming. Just as we start doubting his offensive ceiling, the defensive display tells an entirely different story, one that could be his cornerstone. On the defensive end, Bronny was unleashed in an Avery Bradley-esque role, tasked with suffocating the point of attack and showcasing his elite physical tools. Lower body strength to hold ground against bigger opponents, agility to cut off driving angles, and the balance to contest shots without fouling. Against Cooper Flagg, a 7-footer with post moves reminiscent of a young Drew Holiday in his physicality and stance, Bronny registered a series of stonewall stops that made social media explode. With rough comparisons to a high-caliber perimeter defender, Flagg tried to impose himself, turning his back to the basket, weaving in the paint. But Bronny's chest-to-chest defense refused position, poking at the ball only to draw a questionable foul in a testament to his fearless tenacity and refined technique. Yet here lies the rub: he is undersized. That lack of length curtails his rim protection and limits defensive impact away from the ball, especially when he's the weak-side defender in peel-switch scenarios where size and timing are everything. His positioning and level of engagement, though, are impressive for a 20-year-old. He's active, intelligent, always bouncing on his toes, and making the right plays most of the time, even if some ball-watching lapses creep in. So, what's the verdict on offense? Will Bronny ever develop into a reliable shooter to solidify his value? His rookie year between NBA G League and limited college minutes offers a tantalizing glimpse: 120 for three-point attempts at over 35%, accuracy, an 80% plus free throw rate. Not a glaring red flag, but the sample size demands patience. Could he morph into a modern Lonzo Ball type, someone who once struggled with pace and inside scoring before blossoming into a deadly outside shooter, who controlled half-court offenses with high basketball IQ and unselfish passing? The comparison is flattering, but ambitious Lonzo possesses a much more polished passing game and court vision, the kind that forces defenses to bend under pressure in transition. Bronny shows glimpses of that vision, spotting shooters and cutting teammates early in the playbook, but the lack of confidence in ball handling and attacking the basket leaves us asking, is the speed enough without sustained control? Yet Lakers lore teaches us never to dismiss the journey from the Showtime era's magic of unselfish, fast break glory through Kobe and Shaq's ruthless three-peat dominance, into the 2010 back-to-back hustle and the 2020 bubble's tactical resilience. Every superstar has had to forge an identity before claiming their throne. Enter Rob Pelinka's offseason maneuverings and the 2025 roster shakeup, where the Lakers are carefully balancing veterans like Rui Hachimura and rising talents like Austin Reeves alongside enigmatic prospects Max Christie and Jackson Hayes, all while managing salary cap constraints and dangling rumors of blockbuster trades. The arrival of Bronny, the heir apparent to purple and gold destiny, throws gasoline onto these smoldering embers. Can the front office craft a bulwark around this young defender turned offensive modification project before the Western Conference playoff race explodes? The Lakers' style is evolving fast, heavy with small ball lineups and streak shooters. The pressure mounts for Bronny to prove he can handle NBA caliber ball pressure in late game crunch time, not just as a defensive specialist, but ideally as a two-way contributor. But here's the under-the-radar bomb no one saw coming. Despite the offensive limitations highlighted in this one game, his defense is legitimately shaping into an NBA-ready asset, an on-ball stopper with a rare blend of strength and tenacity that might force rotational shifts and even net more minutes in high-leverage matchups. Is it possible that Bronny James will redefine himself first as a defensive guinea pig, the man who can blunt opposing guards before slowly carving out the offensive niche? This presents a conundrum for the Lakers coaching staff. Should they lean into his defensive potential and shelter his offensive growth gradually, or push him to become an offensive threat sooner and risk overexposure? It's a delicate balance reminiscent of how they managed Austin Reeves' emergence, or Rui Hachimura's role fluctuations in clutch moments. And what about the psychological burden Bronny carries under the constant scrutiny of fans and media, who equate his every move to the GOAT legacy of his father, LeBron James? The weight of that parallel is both a motivating force and a gigantic shadow, a pressure cooker that could either temper him into a composed competitor or cripple his development. Watching him in this game, you see flashes of brilliance, but also the human moments of hesitation, not unlike the young Kobe Bryant, whose early years were equally fraught with stumbles before blossoming into the Black Mamba. Will Bronny's growth mirror that painful but glorious climb, or will expectations derail him before he finds his stride? Here's the ultimate question burning in every fan's heart: can the Lakers front office and coaching staff build the right ecosystem for Bronny to thrive? Or will this be another tale of immense talent trapped under the shadows of fame? As a lifelong Lakers believer, my pulse is racing just writing this. The blend of defensive promise and offensive uncertainty makes Bronny the most electrifying enigma to watch since LeBron himself arrived to Hollywood nearly 2 decades ago. The Lakers' storied legacy is hinged on evolving stars rising from the ashes of doubt. Kobe's relentless mastery, Shaq's overpowering presence, the resilience of AD bouncing back from injuries, all culminating in the fight for the Larry O'Brien Trophy. Now, Bronny stands at the precipice of this storied narrative, the torchbearer with everything to prove and a destiny still unwritten. But is this the ignition point for our next title run, or the crack that splits our legacy? Drop your unfiltered takes in the comments. I'll be right there, heart in hand. The air inside the Crypto.com arena was electric. A searing wave of excitement and doubt colliding so violently you could taste it, like pure ozone crackling just before a thunderstorm breaks loose. And in the eye of that straining tension stands Bronny James, caught between legacy and the merciless present, a living paradox wrapped in the purple and gold. After watching Bronny's rollercoaster battle against the Mavericks, where flashes of a future star were snatched by shadows of hesitation, the question isn't just whether he'll live up to the James name, it's whether this entire season's trajectory hinges on his evolution or his unraveling. You feel the seismic pressure shaking the locker room down to its core. Veterans exchanging uneasy glances, coaching whispers growing louder about roles and minutes, while LeBron, that unshakable king, watches from the sidelines with the coaches. Eye in a father's heart, does he push risking patience or anchor hoping Bronny's rookie stumbles are just a prelude to greatness? Anthony Davis, grinding through his own battles with durability and focus, can't afford a dip in defensive fortitude that Bronny's growing pains threaten to expose. And you hear the low undertone of panic rising from the front office, where Rob Pelinka's phone won't stop ringing, juggling trade scenarios that could either insulate the young heir or flood the roster with experience. But what if too many cooks spoil the chemistry? The energy inside the arena buzzes like a live wire as whispers hiss about the brutal gauntlet ahead. The Nuggets, perched like wolves, sniffing every sign of weakness. The Suns boiling over with championship hunger, and both the Clippers and Warriors sharpening their knives to carve through an already fragile Lakers core. This is no ordinary season. It feels like destiny's pendulum swinging wildly, where every possession Bronny takes on defense tightrope walks, between shutting down elite NBA creators and exposing his physical limits, and every hesitation on offense fuels the frenzy questioning if he can ever wield the ball with LeBron's calm or Kobe's killer instinct. You hear every fan's breath hitch and every heartbeat pound like a timpani. Because this isn't just basketball, it's the forging of a legacy on live wire pressure, a narrative so tangled with expectations it threatens to snap like a violin string under the weight of history. But what if Bronny's defensive rise signals a new Lakers blueprint, an identity built on lockdown perimeter pressure that echoes back to the gritty, unyielding hustle of the Showtime rejects, or the relentless Mamba mentality that demanded and inspired every inch of the floor? Imagine the coaching staff pivoting hard, turning Bronny into a defensive anchor first, sheltering his offensive tools to blossom behind the scenes, crafting a slow-burning star who first earns respect by shutting down legends before lighting up the scoreboard. Could that shift reroute the Lakers' playoff chances, turning perceived weaknesses into revolutionary strengths? And yet, the core dilemma remains: does leaning into defense stunt Bronny's offensive growth at a critical moment when two-way excellence is the currency of NBA greatness? You can almost taste the bitterness in the fan chatter, the strain between hope and skepticism, as younger teammates like Max Christie and Jackson Hayes watch closely, knowing their own paths might be determined by how this family drama unfolds. The arena echoes with ghostly memories: the frantic Showtime fast breaks, the Shaq Kobe power pushes, the sheer will in the 2020 bubble proving championships are forged in fire and doubt. But right now, the Lakers stare down a crossroads unmarked by previous legends, hung between honoring the past and engineering an uncertain future. And here's the clause in this unfolding saga: nobody's talking about Bronny's psychological battlefield, that mental grit game beneath the lights, where every mistake isn't just a stat line blip, but a headline-ready controversy, every missed shot a seismic blast in the zeitgeist of expectations stacked impossibly high. The pressure cooker of media firestorms and social media's merciless consumption threatens to shape or shatter the young guard, making each game a crucible not just of skill, but of character that can either forge him into a resilient warrior or leave him crumbling under the unforgiving glare. You can hear the hum of tension rising, a coiled spring ready to snap as the Western Conference looms, a landscape littered with hungry franchises, all circling like sharks sensing weakness, ready to exploit a single misstep from this fragile Lakers experiment. What if the front office's rumored trade talks go south, leaving the team patchwork and unbalanced, forcing Bronny into a starring role before his equilibrium is ready? Or what if the Lakers double down on veteran stability and defensive schemes, easing the pressure on Bronny, but risking the sparks and unpredictability that new blood brings to a championship hunt? The arena's pulse is a cyclone spinning fast, thrilling, terrifying, impossible to predict. Hand somewhere in this storm, Bronny stands primal, raw, a living symbol of the franchise's eternal gamble on youth and greatness. The question isn't just, will he become a star? It's, will the franchise's faith in this next generation beacon define the Lakers' entire arc this season and beyond? Can the shimmering promise of a lockdown perimeter defender under 20 years old anchor a path back to contention, or is this the brittle fracture that shatters the Lakers' ambitions before the race even heats up? As a Laker till I draw my last breath, I can feel the earthquake rumbling under this season. Now tell me what's rattling your soul, because the firestorm hasn't even peaked. Personally, I'm betting on Bronny's defense as our secret weapon, the gritty foundation that buys him time to evolve offensively. But make no mistake, the Lakers are playing a high-stakes game of fate with him, and that razor's edge could carve a future dynasty or cut down another dream.